Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm MiraaSpeaks, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are new, those who've subscribed to see more, got more subscribers, and those of you who are yet to subscribe. What are you waiting for? It's free. Thank you so much for all your responses on my previous video. I was really nervous putting that out, but I think it was something that needs to be spoken about, because the amount of messages I received, guys, like, we are experiencing something, and I think we have to create a community and speak up. If you haven't watched my previous video, I will leave it up here somewhere, where I was talking about my imposter syndrome story. So before we get into the video, guys, what do you think about my hair? I actually did it myself. Yeah, Corona is teaching me quite a few things. I'm just like, you know what, maybe I can do my hair by myself. So I did it myself, really proud of that. So I'm starting to recognize my accomplishments, which is one thing, I mentioned in there that, after everything that I have achieved, I'm continuing to achieve. Imposter syndrome can make you feel like you're not worthy of those things. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I dealt with it, my mistakes, the mistakes that I made as well, so that hopefully you don't make those mistakes. If it's something you're really interested in, I suggest you subscribe right now. Make sure you subscribe, and you go watch my previous video if you haven't already watched it. Grab yourself a nice cup of tea or maybe some juice. So this is ginger, carrots, and orange juice, freshly. And yeah, let's get right into it. So one thing that I mentioned in my previous video, which I would urge you all to do if you are in such a situation, is to definitely speak up. I made that mistake where I didn't say anything, and the reason why I didn't say anything was because I wasn't sure what I was experiencing. And you might not understand it unless you're in it, really, but sometimes you don't want to, place a finger on something and just say this is what it is, or that is what it is, and this is the reason. And because as a person of color especially, you don't want to just say because I'm this, that's why you're doing this to me. Secondly, I was the only person in that team, so there wasn't anybody else experiencing it with me to say, have you noticed this, or do you think of this? So it made it really difficult for me. Although after I'd left the team and somebody else joined the team, they started noticing things as well. They spoke up, which I envy, and it's what seems to be working for them. So definitely, I would definitely say speak up, speak to that person, speak to people, speak to your mentors, coaches. That leads on to my second point, to be honest. Have a confidant, somebody who you can vent to. You definitely need that for sure to get you through somehow. So that could be like family members, or somebody who they're not listening to you to tell you what to do. They're just listening to you as an outlet, as a vent. You need that. And my mom was my outlet. Ooh, girl. In the morning on my way to work, she's the one I vent to. Lunchtime, vent to. In the evening, vent to. Like, literally, oh, mommy, I love you. And yes, she was there, part of the journey. So now when she sees me on the other side of it, she's like, you know what, I know what you went through. But yeah, no, it was interesting now looking back. But my mum was my confidant, who I could just vent to. She just listened, and gave me her advice, which I obviously have to take with a pinch of salt, because she's my mum. So there's a little bit of affinity bias, which I had to take into consideration. Having said that, though, I would definitely recommend you have a mentor or a coach, somebody who is outside of your department, possibly outside of your organization. And you can have more than one mentor. And I think a lot of people feel like if you have one mentor, that's the only mentor that you can have. You can have different mentors. I suggest maybe 1 to 3 or even 4. If you attend a networking event and you see somebody who you want to emulate or want to be like, I would definitely suggest asking if they could mentor you. That's if they have the capacity. I do mentor a few people myself, and then that's not me saying do this or do that. My mentor is just be there to listen and to just give them a different outlet or look on something else. And these are people who can sort of distance themselves from what you're actually experiencing. And I remember I mentioned in my previous video, if you haven't watched that video, I suggest you do, because I'm going to be cross-referencing what I've mentioned in that video. I mentioned that I remember sort of venting in a way, because I was in my own perception, venting to my mentor. And she said to me, well, Samira, can we focus on what we can control? And I thought, oh, wow. My mum never picked up on that, because she is also leading from an emotional point of view. But this mentor has to see things from an outside point of view, or a coach. I also had coaching lessons, coaching sessions to help me through it all. I'm also, as I said in a previous one, I'm on a leadership program, again, to help me with these things. And it may look like, I'm going through all of this and all of that, but it affects people differently. I'm a very emotional person. I lead first with emotion than I do anything else. Which I'm learning, which is not a bad thing, but I'm learning to be emotionally intelligent. And that means being able to recognize my emotions, accept them, but know which one to pour out. Because, sometimes your emotions just gets the best of you. And then after a while, in hindsight, you're just like, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. So emotional intelligence is also one thing that I would say you have to harness. Accept that you are a person who probably, leads off emotion rather than logic initially, but then think about that, reflect on it there and then. It is a skill. It comes with time, and don't feel like you have to learn it all at once. Do read. I have a few videos that I can link below. If you want to see videos, let me know. I'll put them in the description. But if I don't, just message me and ask me about the emotional intelligence, and I'll send you those videos. Learning about how to lead and deal with those things. So yeah, emotional intelligence, that's one thing that my mentor and my coach helped me. And I mentioned a few things that my coach picked up on initially when I first started my coaching session, and what he also picked up on at the end. And you can see that I have grown, I have learned from those things. One thing I'd also advise is, one thing that I did that I feel like helped me was the fact that I documented everything. And it might seem petty, but this was something that somebody who's in a senior position actually in the organization told me, and it helped me a great deal. I would just say, if ever you have a meeting with this person that you're probably struggling with, getting this person who's making your life hell, basically making you feel like a fraud, making you feel self-doubt, basically making you feel like you have bringing out things of imposter syndrome, basically. I would definitely suggest you document everything. If you do go to a meeting with this person and you're in a room, write down everything they said. Send an email after the meeting and just say, as discussed, or just to reiterate, following our discussion, this is where we are, this is what you said, this is what I'm going to do. Anything. And I can't stress this enough, because when a time will come where, especially if this person shifts blame, you would need to rummage through those emails and find something that supports you. It's helped me a few times. It did help me while I was there, and it helped me. So definitely, and not just with even this when you're going through this situation, I would even say generally, if you attend a meeting, it's just you two people in a meeting, and you want to make sure that you remember everything that they said in the meeting. Yeah, send an email just to say, following from our meeting just now, I want to reiterate that this is what you said you were going to do, this is what I'm going to do. We decided that we would meet up on Thursday, just to confirm, and then have everything written down, just so you can watch your back, sis. Watch your back. I don't say sis, but sis and bro, really, because I did have some male people come back to me as well, which was quite nice. Although in my head I was obviously thinking I'm speaking to just like women, but no, men go through this as well. So yeah, thank you so much for everybody who commented and also who sent me personal messages. I really appreciate that. As I said earlier, speak up, have a confidant, a coach, or a mentor, and also document everything if you can. One other final thing, and also emotional intelligence, as I mentioned, and one other final thing would be, in life, you're not meant to get on with everybody. And it comes to a point where you realize you probably can't do anything. You may have to consider seeking out new opportunities. And this should probably be your last resort, because again, you don't want to just jump, because you don't know what you're going to meet on the other side. You might go get another job, and who knows, that person you're going to be working with will be 10 times worse than this one. So that's the way I looked at mine. Not to say that I didn't consider things like that. I did, but I thought about what can I do to make a difference or to change what the situation that I'm in. And it taught me resilience, as I said in my previous video. It taught me that I'm actually stronger than I think I am. And it also taught me that I'm worthy in a way, but I didn't see it at the time. And it's interesting because somebody even messaged me when they said to me, they said something that I should remember, that I am where I am because I worked hard to get there. And when you're in that mindset, listen, they can't tell you nothing. Nothing counts really, because you're just like, no, I'm not good enough. No, I'm a fraud. No, self-doubt. The gremlin keeps popping in your head. But you have to think about the fact that where you are, you're meant to be there. You've probably worked harder than people to get there. So that's definitely something I would also say, can think about. Don't close your opportunities. Don't close the doors to opportunities that could possibly serve you well in the future. So yeah, seek out new opportunities. It could be within the same organization. I did that. I moved. It could be outside of the organization. And then use this time to also harness your own craft. It can take over your life, but if I'm to look back now, I really wish I carried on filming YouTube videos. But again, I definitely was not in the right frame of mind. I just wish I used my emotions better and maybe directed it into something else that probably would have given me a lot more confidence outside of the working world, to keep things like that, But yeah, I just thought I'll just come back with a video just to say again, thank you so much for your engagement on my previous video, just to also let you know how I dealt with and how I overcame my imposter syndrome. I'm still dealing with it, as I said. It's not something that goes overnight. It's just ways around it. You have to manage it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. But I just thought I will come back, keep the momentum going, and just to remind you all that, listen, you're more than enough and you deserve so much more. Even if you believe you don't, you do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.